In the quiet village of Amudara, there lived a woman everyone called Mama Ada. She was not rich, she was not educated, but she had something greater. 9 children. Her compound was always alive, small feet running on red soil, arguments over food, laughter in the evenings when lantern light flickered against mud walls. Her husband, Papa Obi, was a farmer. They were not wealthy, but they were content. Until the day everything changed. It was a Tuesday morning. Papa Obi went to the farm as usual. By afternoon, 2 men carried his body home. Snake bite. Too late. Too sudden. Mama Ada screamed so loudly the entire village gathered. 9 children stood watching. The oldest was 15. The youngest was barely 1. That night, after the burial, the house that once held laughter held silence. Mama Ada did not sleep. She stared at her children. How will I raise 9 alone? The next morning, before dawn, she tied her wrapper tightly and stepped outside. She would not beg. She would not give up. She farmed from sunrise to sunset. She carried cassava on her head. She fetched water for neighbors for coins. She hawked vegetables in distant markets. Her hands hardened, her back bent, but every evening she gathered her children and said, "You will go to school. You will not suffer like this." When school fees came and money was not enough, she removed one of her best wrappers, sold it. When that finished, she sold half of her husband's land. People whispered, "She is foolish. She is wasting property. Her children will forget her." She ignored them. Years passed. The children grew. One got admission into medical school. Another studied law. One became a nurse. Another a dietitian. One entered engineering. One banking. One business. Scholarships came. Jobs followed. They moved to the city. Big houses. Air conditioning. Cars with tinted windows. Mama Ada remained in the village house, now old and cracked, but proud. Very proud. Whenever villagers mocked her poverty, she smiled. "My children are my wealth." At first, they called every week. Then once a month. Then only on holidays. Then only when she called first. When she complained of loneliness, they would say, "Mama, you worrying too much." When she said the roof was leaking, they said, "We are busy." When she said she was tired, they said, "You are strong." Slowly, love turned into inconvenience. One day, the second son lost a major contract. The doctor faced a malpractice accusation. The banker's business deal failed. They began looking for reasons. Someone suggested, "Maybe it's spiritual." Fear entered. They visited a spiritualist in the city. He closed his eyes dramatically. After long silence, he said, "There is a woman behind your problems. An elderly woman. She is jealous. She is using witchcraft. Be careful. It is your mother." Silence filled the room. The suggestion sounded impossible, but fear makes lies believable. The more they discussed it, the more it made sense in their minds. She always complains. She always says she sacrificed. Maybe she wants control. One by one, they stopped answering her calls. When she called crying, they accused her. "Mama, what are you doing spiritually? You want to destroy us." Her heart broke. She could not understand. Mama Ada became very sick. The local clinic said she needed urgent surgery. Cost, number 2,000. She had nothing left. No land, no savings, only memories. She sent voice messages. "My children, I am not a witch. I am your mother." Silence. Her neighbors fed her occasionally, but her body was failing. On a rainy night, with thunder in the sky, Mama Ada took her last breath. Alone, the village buried her simply. Only neighbors attended. None of the 9 children came. They sent money, not themselves, and life continued, or so they thought. Within months, the doctor lost his license permanently. The lawyer was disbarred. The engineer's company collapsed. The banker faced investigation. The nurse was sued. The dietitian's clinic shut down. Marriages broke. Peace disappeared. Nightmares haunted them. They went back to the spiritualist. He shook his head. "You have offended a womb. You abandoned the blood that birthed you." Fear now turned into regret. For the first time in years, all 9 returned to the village. They stood before her grave. The house was broken, roof leaking, walls cracked. Inside her old Bible was a letter. It read, "My children, even if you believe I am a witch, I forgive you. Every land I sold, every wrapper I removed, was because I loved you. May God bless you. May you never suffer." Mama, no curse, no anger, only blessing. That was what destroyed them completely. Some sins cannot be undone. Some regrets come too late. Success means nothing if gratitude is missing. Never forget the womb that carried you, because the tears of a mother do not disappear in silence. In a quiet village surrounded by thick forests and tall ancient trees, there lived a strange man named Uzodimba, Uzodimba was different. He did not talk much. He did not attend village gatherings. He preferred the company of trees and wind. The villagers feared what they did not understand. Whispers followed him everywhere. That man is not ordinary. He walks alone at night. Something is wrong with him. But what they did not know was that Uzodimba carried a gift, a powerful gift he never asked for. He had magic, not the kind that destroys, the kind that protects. The day everything changed. One afternoon, little Kinara wandered too close to the forbidden side of the forest. The ground near the ravine was weak, and before anyone could notice, she slipped. A sharp scream echoed through the trees. Uzodimba, who was nearby gathering herbs, rushed toward the sound. Without thinking, he stretched out his hand. A soft golden glow surrounded him as he caught the child before she could fall into the deep rocky pit below. Kinara trembled. "You are safe," Uzodimba whispered gently. But just as he lifted her to safety, villagers arrived. What they saw was not a rescue. They saw Uzodimba holding the child, and fear filled their hearts. Accusation. Mama Ebel screamed. "He has taken my child." Papa Ifini clenched his fists. "I knew he was dangerous." Uzodimba tried to explain. "She was falling. I saved her." But fear does not listen. Rumors spread like wildfire. Within hours, the entire village had gathered. He kidnaps children. He uses dark powers. No one asked Kinara what happened. No one waited for truth. By sunset, they had made their decision. Uzodimba, the forest of loneliness. They drove him out with stones and shouting. Uzodimba did not fight back. But inside him, something broke. In the darkness of the forest, alone among twisted trees and cold winds, his heart filled with pain. "I saved them," he whispered, "and this is my reward." His anger awakened something deeper within him. His magic changed. It became stronger and dangerous. The birth of fear. The next morning, a hunter entered the forest. He vanished. Then a woman gathering firewood disappeared. Then 2 young men. Panic spread. No bodies were found. No screams heard. What no one knew was this. Uzodimba was not killing them. He had discovered a strange ability. With a wave of his hand, he could trap someone in an invisible space, a space where they could see the world outside, but no one could see them. He could not even see them clearly himself. They were suspended between worlds. "I am already a monster in their eyes," Uzodimba said bitterly. "Let me become what they fear." The village trembled. The child who remembered. But little Kinara remembered. She remembered the warmth of his glowing hands. She remembered that he had saved her life. One evening, while the adults argued and blamed one another, Kinara quietly walked toward the forest. She called out softly, "Uzodimba, I know the truth." The wind grew still. He appeared from the shadows. "You should not be here," he said. "You saved me," she replied bravely. "Why are you hurting others?" Uzodimba's eyes softened. "They hurt me first." Kinara stepped closer. "If you become what they fear, then they win." Her words pierced through his anger. Soon, Adaura, the wise young woman of the village, followed Kinara into the forest with Mama Ebel and Papa Ifini, and for the first time, they saw it. Their missing villagers, alive, suspended in strange invisible prisons, frightened but unharmed. Uzodimba had not killed anyone. He had only wanted them to feel the fear he felt. Mama Ebel fell to her knees. "We were wrong." Papa Ifini lowered his head in shame. "Forgive us." Uzodimba stood silently. Forgiveness is not easy when your heart has been broken, but anger had already cost too much. With a deep breath, Uzodimba raised his hands. The invisible prisons shattered like glass. One by one, the villagers returned to the ground. Free. Redemption. The village changed that day. They learned that fear can turn innocence into accusation. They learned that misunderstanding can create monsters where there were none. Uzodimba did not return fully to the village. He remained in the forest, but no longer as a monster. He became its guardian, and whenever children wandered too close to danger, a gentle golden glow would appear, and a quiet voice would whisper, "You are safe." Moral of the story. Sometimes, the monster was once a hero, and sometimes, the greatest danger is not magic, but fear without understanding. In the ancient village of Umakuro, when the moon was round and stories were told under the great baobab tree, the elders would begin like this. "Children, come closer. This is the story of Jontala, the giant who guarded us, and the hunger that swallowed him." Jontala was not born like other children. When his mother carried him, her belly stretched beyond what any woman had seen. The midwives whispered. When he was born, he did not cry softly. He roared. By the time he was 5 years old, he was the height of a grown man. By 10, he could uproot small trees. By 15, no doorframe could contain him. Yet his heart was gentle. He would lift children onto his shoulders so they could pluck mangoes. He repaired broken huts with one hand. When floods came, he carried the elderly across the river. The villagers loved him deeply. They said, "The gods have given us a living wall." Those were dangerous times. Wild animals prowled the forests. Bandits raided nearby settlements. But whenever danger approached, Jontala would stand at the edge of the village. His voice alone could scatter intruders. Once, when raiders came at night, Jontala lifted their leader into the air and said, "Omokoro is not yours." The raiders never returned. From that day, mothers slept peacefully. Farmers worked boldly. Children played freely, because Jontala was there. But strength has a cost. Jontala's hunger was as mighty as his body. The first time he finished an entire pot of soup alone, the women laughed. The first time he emptied a barn of yams in 1 week, the elders grew quiet. He did not eat with a spoon of metal. The blacksmith forged him a spoon the size of a paddle. He could finish a whole goat in 1 sitting, a bag of rice before sunset, enough gari to feed 10 families. Yet the villagers said, "He protects us, let us feed him." And they did. Each family contributed. Each harvest, a portion was set aside for Jontala. He never demanded it. He simply ate what was given. But seasons change. One year, the rains came late. Crops grew thin. Yams were small. Rice was scarce. Still, they fed him. The next year, pests invaded. Goats died. Palm trees bore little fruit. Still, they fed him. By the 3rd year, the barns were nearly empty. At the village meeting, the elders sat in silence. One elder spoke softly. "We cannot continue like this." Another replied, "But without him, who will protect us?" A woman added, "If we give him all we have, what will our children eat?" And so, slowly, painfully, they stopped bringing gifts, not because they hated him, but because survival demanded it. At first, Jontala thought it was a mistake. He waited. No baskets came. No goats were tied outside his hut. No children ran up to greet him. His stomach growled like distant thunder. He walked into the village square. People avoided his eyes. A little boy who once adored him hid behind his mother. That was the first crack in his heart. Days passed. Hunger makes the body weak, but it also makes the mind restless. One afternoon, he saw traders walking to market. Their baskets were full. His stomach twisted. He stepped in front of them. "Leave the food." They trembled. He took it. He told himself, "Just this once." But hunger returned the next day, and the next. Soon, whenever footsteps echoed on the market road, Jontala was there, not roaring, not threatening, just desperate. Fear spreads faster than fire in dry grass. Children were warned. "Do not go out late, Jontala will catch you." His name became a shadow. The same people who once sang songs about him now whispered curses. Yet at night, when he sat alone outside his hut, Jontala would stare at his hands and murmur, "I protected them. Why do they fear me?" No one answered. Hunger is patient. It waits. It weakens. It takes. One dry afternoon, Jontala tried to stand. His legs failed. He fell. The earth shook one last time. Villagers gathered at a distance. They watched. The mighty guardian lay on the ground, breathing heavily. No one moved to help, not because they were cruel, but because they were afraid. His breathing slowed. His great chest rose, and fell, and did not rise again. It took the entire village to dig a grave, not because they wanted to honor him, but because he was too large to move. They dug beside where he fell. Slowly, with ropes and trembling hands, they pushed his body into the earth. No songs were sung. No drums were beaten. Only silence. The giant who once guarded Omokoro now lay beneath its soil. Years later, when children asked, "Was Jontala wicked?" the elders would shake their heads. No, he was hungry. They would add, "A community must care wisely, and strength without balance destroys itself." And sometimes, on quiet nights, when the wind moves through the baobab tree, it sounds like a distant stomach growling. The elders say that is the earth remembering Jontala. Even the strongest among us depend on community. A society must plan wisely for sustainability. Hunger and desperation can change even a good heart. Do not wait until your hero becomes your fear. Balance, moderation, and shared responsibility keep a community